Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Nextlander podcast. What are we?
Podclast? It sounded like iconoclast. Okay.
Podclast, iconocast.
The icono...
Podclast.
There's
I can't make this work.
There has to be a podcast called the Iconocast, right? That exists.
Yeah, okay, Iconocast works better than Podclast.
Yeah, Podclast is bad.
Podclast.
Yeah. Podclast is bad.
It's bad.
Iconocast, that works better.
Oh, Podclast exists. Somebody beat us to it.
Of course it does.
Look, man, you got to churn those names out fast, you know?
Seriously.
See what takes.
Oh,
Hang on,
man.
let's just do our due diligence. Yep, no, Iconocast also...
Well...
Apparently there's like 3 or 4 of those.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well...
I can't wait until they all sue each other.
Who owns iconoclast.com? Who got it? Who got in there?
Let's see.
What is an iconoclast? What does that word actually
firebrand?
mean? Okay. Somebody who's outspoken?
Sort of, yes. Someone who goes against the grain, perhaps.
That's us. Look at us.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Here are my thoughts on Overwatch.
Blazing new real thought leaders over here.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to the Nextlander podcast. A
podcast for thought leaders.
That's right.
Actually, this is the secondary definition is my favorite now. A destroyer of images used in religious worship.
That's me. That's
no graven images.
Oh, you see.
That's now the title of this episode.
Some good vibrations just came out of that.
Yeah. Speaking of good vibrations, I hope everybody's doing well out there. I'm excited for the stuff for this week. We're going to talk about Overwatch 2. We're going to talk about Grounded. We're going to talk a little bit about...
Maybe you're going to talk about Overwatch 2.
I'm going to talk about the one screen I've primarily seen in Overwatch 2.
We're going to talk a little bit about the finals and some other stuff, and we're going to get to the news. Before we do that, let me tell you a little thing about the Watchcast. The Watchcast. We've got our John Carpenter Horror Month going on currently.
It is kicked off.
If you haven't watched The Thing, A, go watch The Thing, and then B, you should go listen to the Watchcast.
And that's not you just saying go watch The Thing. You're saying go watch The Thing, 1982, the film.
Go watch John Carpenter.
We say The Thing in that podcast roughly 7,000 times, and only maybe 20% of that is actually referencing the title of the film.
It's a great movie, and again, the Watchcast is where we talk about our thoughts on the movie after we've watched it. It is not a watch-along.
We're thought leaders.
So thought leaders. We tear down images, and we replace them with images from our own mental faculties. That's right. And then we watched Prince of Darkness.
Yes, we did.
Speaking of images
that's
and
a
imagery.
Movie.
Yeah, that's also a movie by John Carpenter.
That is a major motion picture one could consume.
Oh, it's major, all right.
It's in motion.
Yeah,
and there are pictures.
That movie was fun. It's a real weird one, but I feel like in an enjoyable way.
I am very glad I watched that movie.
Same here.
I don't know how often I will go back to it, but you know.
You can check all that out on the Watchcast. Again, information over on the Patreon and the Discord. You can check all the information and schedules out there.
Real fast, important Watchcast addendum. There is a Blu-ray copy of Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula on the hold shelf at the public library with my name on it.
Oh, boy.
Well, I hope you're ready for Dracula for December then, because we are definitely doing Dracula in December.
I'm going to watch it every night until then.
Dracula in December is a fun theme. Let's get...
It's a Dracula to Remembula. It's the worst thing I've ever said.
I don't even know how to spell. I'm trying to type that into this podcast title field, and I don't know.
I don't know why I thought of December to Remember. The fucking was
like a car.
Happy Honda Days type thing.
It's a car. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to the business.
Wrong with me?
You know what? Before we get to the business, let me tell you about some other things that are terrible.
Okay.
One other thing that was terrible. Something that's been bothering me this entire day is that there has been a brisket cooking in the oven all day. It smells delicious.
And
I'm not going to be around to eat it later tonight. Where is the justice?
It's because you'll be feasting on social interaction and
people.
camaraderie.
Yeah, I'm gonna be leaving probably right around the time the thing is getting served out for some delicious Yom Kippur dinner. I'm gonna be heading on a subway to go out to visit some John Bomb friends. They're doing some streaming today. I'm gonna go swing by and say hi to folks and meet some folks for the first time. Some folks I've never met in person.
I think that's worth missing a brisket, though. I do feel your pain. Brisket's real good.
I don't know, man. Nothing against all assembled. But come on.
It smells so. The whole house is filled with this smell, and my stomach has just been growling this entire time. And maybe I'll just be able to sneak some.
The house is alive with the smell of brisket.
With brisket.
Man, I haven't eaten anything today except for some weird matcha jelly thing that is making me extremely jittery and kind of making me want to throw up right now. I just wish I had some brisket instead.
Everybody wishes they had some. I assume.
Well, except for vegetarians, but yes.
Yeah, they probably don't want a brisket, but they probably would understand my brisket pain.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to tell you guys was I think Alex, you and I have very similar TVs. That LG
we have the same TV.
Something. Do we have the same year as yours, 2017?
Okay, the only difference between your TV and my TV is that I had the screen replaced on mine at one point.
Okay.
Because there was the C.
What's that?
I've got the speakers. I don't know. Is that B or C?
I can't
remember. Mine has TV speakers in it.
Okay.
So I got that thing in 2017. Marked stop the stopwatch. I have opened up the TV. I have taken the back off of the TV.
Oh man,
what happened?
That's fun.
So I think my Bluetooth module that is in it, because this is a TV, my Bluetooth and Wi-Fi module was giving me problems. The arrow on that pointy remote, the magic remote, the little arrow thing, stopped working, really. And I tried to replace the remote. That didn't work. And then it was having some other issues. It was really chugging. I figured some overheating issues, cleaned out the dust. That didn't do it. So finally I said, let me pop this thing open and get inside. And I took it off the wall and popped it open and vacuumed it all out and played around with the Bluetooth module.
Touched some stuff.
Yeah, touched it, took it out, looked at it. Blew on it some more like a Nintendo cartridge and then put it back in, and it seems to be working fine now. So the other thing that was happening was when I'd go to the I have it hardwired, but when I'd go to the TV and I'd look at the Wi-Fi, it just would say nothing. Right. Not even like searching for connections or anything like that. It just like the module was not working.
I've heard that the Wi-Fi modules on those things can be a little hinky.
Okay.
You're not the first person I've heard of them having a Wi-Fi module or Bluetooth module fail on those TVs.
Check eBay, see if there are any aftermarket replacements floating around.
I bet there are. So that was where I was going to go next. If I put it together and it didn't work after kind of unplugging and plugging it back in, again, I don't really know what I did aside from clean up maybe some residual dust in there, clean out all the ports, and give it time to cool. I don't know, cool down. But it wasn't like It wasn't like I was using it for a long time and it stopped working. It just hadn't been working. But it seems to be working now. And I got to see the inside of that thing, and I have to say, it's not so bad. It's not so bad.
Actually, you might be able to buy a new module straight from LG.
Sweet. Right to repair.
That's right.
New module.
Taking apart AV equipment feels like some next level tinkering.
This thing's not so bad. That module comes out. It is in a little plastic holder. It's got a ribbon cable. You could just pop that thing out and pop it back in probably in 2 minutes.
Yeah. I also have taken my plasma TV apart for
that's
a reason.
The plasma TV is a little scary.
Also have taken my AV receiver completely apart and put it back together for also other reasons.
Did it solve the problems?
No. Well, long story. I got it repaired somewhere. The screen was bad on it. And I got that repaired, and then part of it came back broken.
The TV or the receiver?
The receiver.
Okay.
Like the front panel. The front panel was not in good shape.
Let's say. It was when it went
came
out?
Back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So I actually had to order a whole new front panel from Sony, which is how I know, hey, you could probably just order some AV replacement parts from your manufacturer.
That's nice when you can order the parts.
Had to take it apart and put the whole new front panel on.
Is it better now?
Yeah.
Oh, see, like one of the better feelings of saving something, making something nice again.
TV and receiver have both been going strong for a decade.
See, the plasma TV, I'd be a little worried opening up just because of the way the amount of electricity flowing to make the plasma work is probably pretty intense in there.
Yes.
I assume there are big capacitors in there.
Yeah.
That you don't want to touch.
Yes.
Don't want to touch.
Yeah,
Plasma.
all this stuff just terrifies me, the things you're talking about. Like, I got that screen replaced, and, it was part of the LG deal where they were replacing the screens on those because they all had burn-in issues.
That thing's all screen.
Yeah, it's all screen, pretty much. And so they just sent a person over, and it took 15 minutes. They put the screen on, and then I never saw them again. And that is exactly the way I want these kinds of things to go.
So when you say they replaced the screen, did they just give you a new TV?
No, they kept the base, because the base is where a lot of the electronics junk is.
Okay.
So they just pulled the screen off and then replaced it. And since I got this new screen, despite having left the screen on roughly the exact same things that I used to leave it on before, no burn-in. So I think whatever new whatever revision they did after the one I got made it so that was less of an issue.
I don't think I've had that with mine, but I've kept an eye on it because like you and two other people I know have had that screen.
Mine had
one had a dead pixel too.
Mine had like the bright square in the middle that just seemed like the brightness setting had been turned up by like several notches compared to the rest of the panel.
Okay.
And that looked weird anytime there was a solid color on screen.
And it never went away?
No, it was like once that started, it just never went away. No amount of screen refreshing was ever going to fix that. But again, LG was just straight up giving free replacements to anyone who reported that issue for a while.
Oh, hey, I didn't know Samsung was making OLEDs now.
Ooh.
I think pretty much every major manufacturing is doing some version of an OLED now.
Yeah, well, the thing is, LG was actually making all those panels for the first several years.
Right.
Even other manufacturers were still using LG panels, and I think Samsung was avoiding that. So maybe I think they might be making their own panels finally.
Is OLED still the train to get on for new TVs, or is there something else?
Yes. Okay. Well, micro LED is better, but it's also taking forever to get to market in any kind of affordable fashion.
What is QLED? What are those?
That, I believe, is primarily a marketing term.
Okay. Because I see those around, and they seem to go for only slightly less than the regular OLEDs.
Like, regular LED TVs are just LCDs with an LED backlight.
Right.
And I'm guessing the Q probably stands for quantum there, if I had to guess.
Oh, a quantum LED.
Yeah.
I believe that is exactly the case, yes.
Because I have like a regular LG LED in this office, and I can definitely see the difference in picture quality between that and the OLED.
Okay, that is exactly what that is. It is just an LED TV, which is technically actually just an LCD TV.
Okay.
With like quantum dot stuff.
Quantum dot stuff. Got it.
That's from Prince of Darkness. I learned all about that. You gotta be careful with that. That's where the evil lives.
Yeah, no, the evil is that there's a jar full of TV plasma down in this basement, and don't let that shit out.
The ancient evil lives between the pixels. Just gotta be careful there. All right, should we get it?
Hang on.
Yes. Okay.
No, you can tell LG has a 136-inch micro LED TV out. It's only $300,000.
Oh, okay. I'll keep that.
That's the TV Mr. Burns has. This is the largest TV in the Western world.
$300,000?
Yeah, it's 136 inches to be fair.
I mean, that's a large TV.
That's a
no
big
one
TV.
needs that.
I wonder if you can buy regular size micro LED TVs yet.
You're basically buying a theater screen.
That's a wall. That's a wall.
I mean, it's not a big theater screen, but it's still a theater screen.
Listen. If I had the means, no, I wouldn't.
If I had $300,000, I might spend that on something else.
No, yeah, I'd get something else.
Yeah,
I'd get something else. Plastic Transformer toys.
There you go.
Should we get into the games?
Sure.
Let's do it. Let's start with.
Can we get into the games even?
Oh, that's good. That's good. Should we attempt to get into the games? Overwatch 2 has released in some form.
There is an executable out there.
Yeah, I'm just going to jump in real fast, detail my entire Overwatch 2 experience, and then you may proceed.
Please do.
Go for it.
My entire experience of Overwatch 2 so far has been staring at server queues, getting of several hundred people, getting to the front of the queue, getting various server error messages, and then immediately getting bounced back to the end of the queue again.
Yep.
With one exception, which is that I finally got in at one point, and the game immediately said, "You're in. Now just restart the game client to complete the account merge process."
Was that on the PC?
That was on PS5.
That was PS5.
I think we're all playing on PS5.
So I downloaded it on PC, but haven't launched that version yet. But anyway, because PS4 is what I played the most Overwatch 1 on, and I just figured, just to be safe, maybe my progress would come over there most easily. Anyway, I restarted the game client as instructed.
Yes.
Right back into the server queue hell. So I've never actually played Overwatch 2. Please continue.
So the only reason I was able to get in last night is because Vinny managed to slide in there somehow, and he invited me, and that somehow... I still had to wait in the queue, but once the queue ended, it somehow managed to slide me under the door into the game.
So that's straight up your friend got into the club and then snuck you in the back entrance?
Totally.
It's like the rope in Poltergeist. It just came through the TV, and you just grabbed the rope and went in, and it pulled you in.
You just snuck me in to see Barton Fink.
I got... so I had... mixed results. First, I was able to very easily get into the merge thing. That went through pretty easily, where I got the hey, go sign up hook up your PS5 account or your PlayStation account to your PC. Here's your code. That went through pretty seamlessly. Then after that, I spent about an hour and a half just refreshing queues. It would hit the queue, it'd say 0 people. I didn't get the number. I got 0 people ahead of you. It would go, and then it would say error connecting to the game servers, and then it would boot me back out and be like, try again. So I did that for a while, and then eventually I did get in, and once I was in the game, everything seemed to be there. My purchases seemed to be there. It seemed to track my play history.
Yeah.
I also played a lot on PS4.
To be clear, that was all from 1?
That was all from 1, yeah. So it seemed to have my skins. It seemed to have most of everything. And then I played a decent amount of matches. And then, Alex, I saw you on and sent you that invite. And it seemed like you were able to come in. And then we played Overwatch.
We played 8 matches or something last night. Yeah. And so I'll say I didn't get a chance to see if any of that stuff worked because you immediately dropped us into the quick match queue, which is fine. I wasn't really that worried about my skins or anything. I'm going to have to go look that up at some point to see if that stuff worked. I lost my Blizzard login at some point because okay. The rule is you should never, ever use your work email for signing up for stuff. And I generally agree with that. But when you work in video games and your work email is kind of the thing that ties you to a lot of your product that you are working on, maybe you're a little lax with that. So now that I no longer have a Giant Bomb email address, I've not been able to get into my Battle.net account, but at the same time, when I logged into the game, it seemed to have my Battle.net info already there. I never had to sign in. Because I did almost all my playing on PS4.
Always plan for the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
It's true.
Always tell yourself all of this could go away at any moment.
Well, so
how can I protect myself?
I was very adamant about going and changing my email address on all my accounts. I just forgot about Battle.net because leaving Giant Bomb was in that exact window where I kind of stopped playing all Blizzard games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't release enough. Frequency of games is tough. It could
my Hearthstone addiction has been over for some time. I had stopped playing. I spent about 3 sweaty months of the early pandemic playing a lot of Overwatch, and then I never picked it up again. So I played a bunch of solo matches. I went into the quick queue. There's I don't know much. Alex, maybe you know more than I do about where Overwatch 1 left off. I mean, for folks who don't know, Overwatch 2 just replaces Overwatch 1. Overwatch 1 is gone. So Overwatch 2 that shit is dead.
It's dead. It literally just everything just gets replaced with Overwatch 2 now.
Yeah.
So
when I went into the PlayStation Store to download Overwatch 2 before the client had actually hit the servers, it downloaded Overwatch 1.
What?
And then when I downloaded Overwatch 1, I booted it up and said, "This game don't work no more. Get that Overwatch 2."
You know, I didn't download it until it had already launched, but even, I forget what it was, but I saw something on the store that very much made it seem like they might have just updated the same product listing.
Yeah, I think they did.
To become Overwatch 2 instead of making a new one.
I think they did, and that to me is kind of hilarious, given that playing this game, I don't know what's different because I didn't go into late game Overwatch 1. So I was pretty early on Overwatch. I liked the characters that were in it. I maybe got into about 3 new characters before I stopped playing. And there are a lot of new characters in there. It's a pretty fleshed out.
They added a whole
roster.
bunch over the lifespan of that game.
Yeah. So the thing that I jumped into, there's a role. You can queue by role. Tank. Was it tank?
Tank, damage, and healing, basically.
Okay.
They got rid of the defensive class at a certain point.
Which was fun. The Holy Trinity. Which was funny because the tank was the highest, damage was medium, and then support or healer was the lowest wait time for the queue by role.
You know what's hilarious is that's kind of stopped being the experience of Overwatch 1 after a while. There were more than enough healers to go around, and generally people like filled out the teams pretty well. But now that we're here and it's free to play and it's just the fucking Wild West out there, healers are gone, man. No one cares.
You were the only healer in all the games we were playing until I started being a healer, so you could be the tank.
Supports win games, man. Be the healer.
Seriously.
It really was the case when we were playing, yes.
It's not like it's a game that doesn't have fun healers to play. There are fun healers in Overwatch.
Everybody wants to be the star or the hero of their own story.
So the matches we played, we just did the quick match where you could kind of mix and match the team however you want.
Yeah, quick play lets you have any combination of number of... Like, it's still 5v5 as opposed to 6v6, which was Overwatch 1. But
no dupes on characters, but
no dupes on characters,
class.
but you can have as many of... you can have an all-tank team if you want in
the quick play. And so we did that, and we kind of maybe netted even on wins. We did the
we didn't.
modes.
We actually did. We won the first one, and then we never won another game after that.
Is that true?
We got real close on the last one.
Okay, maybe we won a round or two.
We definitely won some rounds, but we did not win matches.
Okay. I played a lot of Reinhardt. Reinhardt seems to play very similarly to how Reinhardt played when I played Reinhardt.
I don't think they've really changed the old heroes very much.
Okay. Did Zenyatta play very similarly?
Identically.
Okay. They might have buffed or kind of nerfed.
Oh, I'm sure the numbers under the hood are slightly different somewhere around, but like as far as the abilities go, the characters I normally play, they had all the same shit.
And then I tried the new healer, the new the one that's kind of locked behind the battle pass, but we weren't exactly sure. In the quick match, I was able to use her, and we were talking before the show, might be because I had her unlocked from Overwatch 1 as a bonus. I had all the characters unlocked. When I went to the hero's screen, there was a lock on that character. What's her name? I forget what it is.
I think it's Kimiko, but I'm not...
Kimiko?
I believe that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to pull up a list right now.
But okay, there's a lot to talk about here, not the least of which is the fact that this game just is fucking busted out of the gate. But the battle pass stuff is really goofy because like there's two characters everyone gets for free no matter what. There's a new tank, the Junker Queen, and then Sojourn, who's one of the new attack class characters. And Kimiko, I think you only get for free if you owned Overwatch 1.
Okay.
But if you didn't, then she is part of the battle pass, which you would pay $40 for.
She's the first step along with some other stuff on the paid premium battle pass. So she had a lock next to her for ranked games when I was looking at the heroes thing where you check your skins and stuff. So I don't know if I was able to just use her for free unranked and I would need to battle pass unlock her.
I don't know. I have not tried a ranked match yet because I have not been in long enough to actually try.
Yeah, and I was not going to go in a ranked match with the servers kind of being weird. I'm not a big ranked match player anyway. But I did try her. She's neat. She can spam heals out pretty quickly. She has a teleport. She can throw the kunai darts, the daggers.
Which is basically like healing Gambit.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
she just throws little things, and they kind of they heal you or they kill you.
And they she's
Kiriko,
got the,
I believe.
Kiriko?
Okay.
I believe that's right.
Okay.
I don't know. I went to overwatch.fandom.com and they didn't have an updated list for Overwatch 2, so I'm trying to look elsewhere. Kiriko, yes. That's
okay.
it.
Okay.
And she's got a very quick heal. It seems like you kind of have to target heal, like with the paper slips she throws out, but then she has the darts, and then she has kind of a buff she can put on a player for a little bit that makes them kind of invincible and maybe a damage increase. So when you were playing Diva, I would just try and buff you to give you that thing and try and keep up with the healing. And I think Overwatch / Overwatch 2 still plays very well. I think it's fun to play inside. I'm not deep in the meta.
Yeah.
But in terms of when you're healing, seeing people who are at critical health and the information on screen, it's pretty fun. It's pretty easy. I enjoy the kind of simplicity of the surface level of Overwatch 2.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But that is the thing, is that the reason you're enjoying it is because the amount of deviation from Overwatch 1 is not very high. At least, I mean, outside of the fact that they have reduced the team from 5v5 to 5v5 versus 6v6. Like, the actual mechanics of playing and the maps themselves, they put a coat of paint on that stuff, man. And that is kind of like those maps, those are just those maps. Sometimes they're in the daytime now, or they're at night when they weren't before, but those are just those maps. And I don't have a problem.
New maps?
I think there are some, but I don't think we actually got to play any of them.
I can't tell. I haven't played enough Overwatch. They
all the
seem
maps
very
we
familiar.
played were ones I had played before.
Yeah, and the modes too. The push the payload, the hold the checkpoint.
Yeah,
and
it was all the same stuff.
Yeah.
Now, hang on. Did any of the PvE stuff make it in for launch?
I'm not sure that it did, because I did not see a mode for that on the menu.
On Overwatch.blizzard.com, literally just scrolled to this section on the page as I was asking that question. The story continues with PvE beginning in 2023.
Okay.
So
wasn't that their big pitch for the big new thing in Overwatch 2?
Oh, yeah.
Like launch?
It was, but again, just like everything else in the development, runway for this thing, it seems like everything was just kind of on fire the whole way through, and I'm not surprised some aspect of it did not make it into this launch. I think they're technically calling this an online beta, despite the fact that it is the launch date.
Yes, I was going to say that where it's.
I don't buy it either. I'm just saying that's what I think they're calling it.
Battle Pass,
right?
Your game is out.
Yeah, totally.
So the launch stuff, they said they were getting DDoS attacks, denial of service attacks.
They said that yesterday, and then they said it again today.
Yeah, which I could believe. I could also believe that their servers are just being crushed.
Yeah.
And Battlenet.
I mean, it's free to play now, so
yeah, is just kind of under a lot of weight as well. It could be a combination of things. It's. This is old school live service. People are not happy when you cannot log in.
No.
Blizzard has been at the forefront of this. WoW never launched well. But that's not fair to say. There might have been versions of WoW that did launch well. And in my experience with World of Warcraft, up until Burning Crusade, there were always problems on launch day.
Sure.
It's something that, as it became a joke covering this industry, you'll hear it still do it. Hey, this game is coming out today. We're not sure if we'll be able to live stream it.
Yeah, like Destiny has issues every time a new expansion comes out. Like, my understanding is that the cost of scaling the infrastructure up to actually accommodate launch day load is so
ridiculous
that nobody's really ever going to do it when they know that they can just weather the problems for a couple days and then they'll be okay.
But so here's the thing, though, is that is true of 99% of games. I don't think that's true for Overwatch 2. And I'm not saying that in no one's going to play this game, dead game, lol, or whatever. Like, obviously this game is going to do just fine in the long run. But the development story of this game up to this point has been so fraught with bullshit, and so many people reacting negatively to the various development choices they have made for this game. The one thing they could not do was launch in this state. And I understand there may be external factors, but this is the last, I think this is going to be the last straw for a decent number of players of all right, you took away my old game, you changed the dynamic of it, you've got this battle pass system now, and I can't play it at launch. That is a hard road to hoe. And that does not win you a lot of hearts and minds coming off that, just the tone of what how people have responded to this game, to come out of the gate here and be literally, you can't get in.
I think, I think probably more acceptable if Overwatch 2 did not.
If there was more there.
If there was more of a reason to get Overwatch 2, that's the bigger thing. And again, I'm not a big Overwatch player. I'm sure people who are playing it could really inform me of all the little differences, but it looked very similar. It seemed to play exactly like Overwatch Remember, which isn't a bad thing. But yeah, if you're gonna swap it out, some new show all the new stuff out of the gate, new modes, new maps, whatever at launch there, and then get into the older stuff. Even the training modes seem very similar.
Honestly, I feel like the biggest, I guess, misstep is what I would say, and like they're already locked in, so there was kind of nothing they could do, is continuing to call it Overwatch 2.
I know.
Like, if they had never announced a sequel to Overwatch, and this was just an evolution of Overwatch, the existing client,
call it
free-to-play.
Call it Overwatch Reborn or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like, hey, we're going free-to-play. Like, we got new modes on the way. Like, here's new heroes, battle pass, blah, blah, but, like, not presented this as
a sequel.
Here is the next iteration in sequel form of your beloved multiplayer shooter. Like, people would probably be somewhat less angry. I mean, like, the balance changes and stuff that they're making, like, it's a popular online game. Like, a number of people are always going to be unbelievably furious about changes. But I feel like the expectation would be different if they weren't still nominally presenting this as the sequel to Overwatch.
And again, if they had not overwritten the existing game that people paid $60 for back in 2016 or whatever, I don't think it would have that level of scrutiny. I think it would be like, okay, you made a sequel, it's different, sort of. And it's free to play, sort of, and that's fine. But like, I can still go back and play my old Overwatch, and you can't.
Well, you don't want to split that base.
That's the thing, yeah. Well, it's particularly with how similar this is. Like, this is, as by your accounts, this is like practically the same game. I mean, obviously there are major differences, but like, it's kind of the same game, right? Like,
but that's to your point, is what I'm saying, is that you can't call it Overwatch 2 and overwrite the original game with this minimal amount of difference.
That's what I mean, is you completely avoid all the ire over, like, you took away my game and replaced it with this bullshit. If you just say, hey, it's the same bullshit.
Yeah.
And I think
what did Destiny do?
What's that?
What did Destiny do between Destiny and Destiny 2? So they kept Destiny running for a bit?
Yeah, no, it's still up. You can still play it.
You can still play Destiny 1?
Yes. Because there's a bunch of stuff in there that, didn't make it over. In fact, nothing made it over in the beginning. Like, they only, in subsequent years, started re-adding content from 1 into 2.
And it was a pretty significant change from 1 to 2 in terms of
like mechanics and stuff? Yeah, it's huge. Like, they kind of redid basically everything. Like, quest structure, like, loot itemization, like, all kinds of stuff.
So would you say, in your mind, Destiny 2 was kind of the Destiny they always wanted, and they kind of like
I don't know
because it was pretty quick, wasn't it? Destiny 1 was not out that long.
It was 3 years. Destiny 1 was out for 3 years before 2.
That's fairly short. And they got the season model in for Destiny 2, and I feel like they have found their pacing to the point where I don't know what a Destiny 3 is at some
I think iterating on a full sequel was dictated by the terms of the Activision deal. They were signed up for a multi-game deal. So I think they had to produce a separate retail product.
Interesting.
I guess.
So this, I think there's some expectation with an Overwatch sequel to have a little bit fresher. I wouldn't even say new, fresher out of the gate. I think it plays fine. I think the Battle Pass stuff is whatever the Battle Pass stuff is in 2022. I don't know. It's not that memorable.
That's what stings, is that, like, again, I played a gargantuan amount of Overwatch, and I say that mostly in comparison to the amount of time I put into other online shooters. Like, this one, like, it's 99% of what I've played online shooter-wise in the last several years. And, I fell off of it, but it's not because I thought the game was horrible or anything. I just, I put a lot of time into it, and I kind of ran out of steam with it.
Have they really not dabbled with any kind of Battle Pass or season-esque, like, periodic progression ramp at all in the first game?
The way they always did it was that, like, they would do seasonal, releases of new skins and new, like, emotes and other things, but, like, that was kind of it.
And it was always piecemeal transactions, though?
It was always piecemeal transactions or in-game currency,
I'm, like, blown away they had not done a season pass prior to this.
They would let you buy in-game currency in bulk, and that was kind of it. But that's the thing, is that, like, I'm playing this with you last night.
Yeah.
And the entire time I'm not overwhelmed, I'm not underwhelmed, I am merely whelmed. Like, it is just, I felt like I just fell into the exact same rhythm I had with that game. even though there were new characters on the field that had some new abilities that I didn't know about, and I had to kind of, adjust strategy based on that stuff, I was literally just jumping in with the exact same strategies I used on most of those maps, and 80% of the time it was working. Like, nothing has really changed.
Yeah. And we were doing the same modes mostly. That I remembered. There was nothing.
I'm sure there will be more stuff
Yeah.
coming to it, and they are going to like diversify a little bit, but like out of the gate, it is just not a strong impression. And that's even before you get to the part where a huge portion of the player base is literally just running into a screen they can't get past.
Yep. I'll say my only criticism that I can speak to in terms of playing Overwatch 2 match after match was it seemed to, and I couldn't figure out a good way to keep rolling in a queue to just auto matchmake again after a match. It seemed to have to go back to the quick matchmake menu again, click it, and queue up again.
That's how it was in the old game too.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just kind of wanted
it would float you into the menu until it was ready for another match.
Okay. I just wanted to like stay. There is a stay with party thing that you can vote on, but nobody else seemed to vote on it. But yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm kind of with you. It felt very similar, and I would probably pick it up again if one of you guys wanted to play. Like, I had fun with it. It's fun to play with you in it.
When it smooths out and you can just get into a game without any hassle, I think we should all get together and play some, like, maybe on a stream or something, but like, who the hell knows when that's going to be? And also, like, I will say my enthusiasm for that idea has definitely diminished a little bit in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, like, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, well, I was, like, kind of interested in this because, hey, I haven't played Overwatch in 6 years. Like, it'd be fun to check in and see where things are at. And also, it would be nice to talk about it on the podcast. And now that I haven't been able to do so despite my best efforts, I'm like, I don't know if I'm actually going to bother.
And that's what I mean. When I say that, like, they really kneecap themselves here, and this is the one thing they couldn't have happen, there's probably a lot of players like you, Brad, who at least dabbled in Overwatch at some point or another and thought this might be the thing that gets me back into it. And those people are going to fucking forget about that game if this doesn't even out.
If you're talking about people like me, I 100% agree with you. Like, when you were saying that earlier, I was thinking about the Overwatch diehard, and I was...
Oh, no, those people are going to come back no matter what. They're freaks.
I was sitting there going, like, of course those people are going to weather 72 hours of shit servers because they live this game or whatever. But yes, if it's, like, casual, sort of Overwatch curious types like me, then yeah, I absolutely feel like people are going to just move on.
I mean, that's the whole point of making the game free to play, right? Is to bring people like you back into the fold and try and grow that player base. And I just don't think that like enough of them are going to be patient for this stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other games out there.
Yeah, there are.
Mm-hmm. Such as?
Well,
I'll say this before we get into the next one. I did play that character. I was trying to look at a better healer because, Alex, you were like, somebody else needs to play a healer. I was like, I don't know how to play any healers. I just play Mercy. Baptiste seems like a cool character.
Oh, he's good.
I was like, this guy's just got a gun that could shoot or heal.
He's got a health gun.
He's got a health gun that also just shoots. I think I might try and spend some time with him.
Yeah, he's sort of like Ana, but like, machine gun instead of a sniper.
All right. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we're going to talk about some other games that are out there. Games like Grounded. Games like The Finals. If you're out of Overwatch 2 or sitting in an Overwatch 2 queue, you can at least listen to us talk about these games. We'll be right back. All right, let's talk about another game out there that the three of us have actually played. Grounded.
Dude, Grounded.
Grounded.
The only reason I haven't played more Grounded since we streamed it is because it's a shared world, and in case we stream more of it, I kind of feel bad about like going in there and doing too much. But like,
I don't feel bad anymore.
When I got fed up with fighting the Overwatch server queue, I went and played Grounded instead and made my acorn tunic plate.
Excellent.
And then somebody joined the game. I don't know how they got in there and started trying to kill me.
Nice.
That sounds about right.
Grounded for... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say a similar thing to you. I booted it up earlier this morning, and without being on stream, we streamed this, and we streamed about 2 hours of it. Without being on stream and just being able to run around and collect resources and take your time and just focus on a thing, I was like, why aren't I playing more Grounded?
Yeah.
I just want to go in like... I built 2 pallets by our base. I'm like started scouting out more base territory, flatter land for our base to. I'm way into it.
I moved the water collector under the juice box because chat said that it would collect juice that way.
Excellent.
Sweet.
I don't know if that's actually true or not, but we'll see.
I started clearing out some grass around our base, just chopping stuff. Like the mundane things that are not necessarily fun for a stream are the things I wholly enjoy about Grounded.
So this is Obsidian.
Yeah,
this is Obsidian.
Yeah, it's been out in early access for a couple of years. We actually streamed it with Abby in November of 2020, several months into the pandemic when it first went into early access, but now it is out for real, and it is basically Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but a multiplayer survival game.
Yep.
Yes. Honey, I Shrunk the Valheim. Honey, I Shrunk the
Squad.
Also, it is extremely hard.
Yes, it is not.
It's challenging for sure.
It's very punishing. It's like it is a full survival game. Like so far, I have died of thirst. Mm-hmm. I have died in a single hit from a giant spider. Mm-hmm. Like they are not messing around.
Those spiders are not fucking around.
It's on Game Pass. I think it's $40 if you are not on Game Pass. It's also very dense. It is a lot at you very quickly in terms of crafting, and there seems to be, as I dig into it, more information to explain what everything is. It's just very dense. It's like there are nice menus for where you can find the components for your acorn chess piece, like where those are or what these do. You just have to find them in the menus, and that's a little rough to navigate.
It really throws a lot at. That's probably my only real complaint about it so far, is it really throws a ton at you all at once. Like particularly like the recipes, crafting recipes just start stacking up by the dozens. It feels like as soon as you start doing stuff, and there's like other currencies and different types of quests to keep up with, and like the map is maybe not quite as intuitive as it could be, but like it's all approachable. I think part of that was made worse by us playing it on a stream, which like
that does make everything worse.
I don't care what you think. If you were the type of person who yells at your screen, but playing games on a stream is not like playing them by yourself. Like I think if we were to get in there and just really take our time, it would probably be totally fine to absorb all that stuff.
That's kind of a little bit more of what I did this morning. Found some other neat shortcuts in there that were bothering me for taking items out of the inventory and putting them in a chest and not. But still I think some of the menus are pretty clunky, and I'm playing on the controller on the Xbox, and I think some of the grabbing an item, putting it in a hotbar, not putting it in a hotbar, selecting a weapon, selecting an item are a little longer than they need to be.
Yes. Yeah, that stuff is a little confusing.
There's a lot of, hey, you can use this hammer to break stone, you need an axe to chop things, and you want a spear to poke things with. Also, in terms of the amount of gear you get, which is neat, but it's a little too much too quickly, because you wind up with, I would say, what did we play for 2 hours? We had about 5 different gear sets. They each have their own buffs on them, which are
debuffs.
And debuffs, and it's a lot.
The acorn plate that I just made has higher threat generation, so like it's got like a fair amount of RPG style like depth and complexity to it, because there's different types of resists. The enemies have weak points. Like you have to scan the enemies, which also
peep them, please.
You have to peep the enemies, which you basically just like you're a bunch of kids, and then to scan things, you make little hand binoculars over your eyes, which is amazing. But yeah, like you got to track like weak points on enemies and like resists, and like there's like stabbing versus bashing damage and stuff like that. Like there's a lot there to keep up with.
So while you're a kid and you're in a group of 4 other kids, or single, depending on how you're playing, it's not like those kids are dying constantly. Like they're so it has this tone where you're like, hey, it's 80s kids, and like we're going out into the backyard and we're gonna have a good time, and then it's your fellow kid just got munched by a wolf spider out of the gate, and is now that wolf spider spawning on your kid's backpack, and you're kind of it's challenging. It's tonally rough. There's fall damage. There is poison damage. You run into a rogue mosquito, you're dead.
It's just highlighting how deeply unrealistic Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is, because those kids would have gotten mauled to death by a bee within about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It looks neat.
It's exciting though.
Yeah.
I think obviously there's like an easy mode, there is a creative mode, like you can not engage with the difficulty if you don't want to, but I think that's part of what's making it exciting is that ramp, that survival ramp of like, everything's killing me right now. I kind of want to put in the work to get to the point where everything is not just killing me.
So I want to build base defenses. That's what I've been looking at when I was playing this morning. I was like, okay, we need to fortify to keep these wolf spiders and these ants out of our domain here. And that's the part I want to focus on is I want to build the base. I want to focus on water collection because you dehydrate very quickly. And currently we just have to knock dew off of grass blades or find a juice box if you can. So I'm really curious about building up infrastructure in our base in a fun way, in an interesting way. Though, it's not that fun when the spider is camping on your base. Like that is, you.
God, we all slept. Like we all went back to the base and like used the beds and said, okay, sleep for 8 hours and we'll wake up at 6 a.m. and then like literally did not have time to move after waking up before I realized there was a spider behind us and it killed all of us. Like it was right there in the base.
The nice thing is you can set your spawn point to your sleep, your A-frame there, your little hovel, and then we just respawn over there and you collect your resources. But yeah, I like it. I'm a fan. I think
it's a rare one of these that I feel like has actually kind of grabbed my attention. And I feel like
there's story.
There's story in there, and like the mechanics, while punishing, I feel like are generally pretty parsable, pretty understandable, and like it's just got a good goofy tone on top of the menace of all the creatures trying to kill you.
Yeah, the character I was playing is named Hoops, and she has a good like 80s side ponytail.
The thing that I thought was actually technically cool of them to do is you can have a shared world that is not necessarily hosted by any one person.
Yeah, it kind of like obviates the need for a dedicated server or something like that, because when you create a multiplayer session and a new save, it just says, hey, do you want to make this a shared world so you can add other players, and then you can, so I added you guys to the game, and so now any of us can just start up that session whenever we want and
save over it. Yeah. Save the state of that world and have it also then be kind of handed off to the next person. That save lives in the cloud or wherever.
Yeah, and I'm playing the Steam version, and you don't even have to have any kind of Xbox Live subscription to make that work.
It's that part's neat. I appreciate them doing that. So yeah, I would like to. It seems like you can also bring multiplayer people into your single player save and switch those over.
Yeah.
I started a single player one, and when I went to join the multiplayer again, it said, "Hey, do you want to use this or which one?"
Yeah, you can clone a shared world into a single player save if you just want to like fork that world and keep going on your own.
I think that's smart, and that's very cool. There's one thing on there. What is it? Recover or repair world? Something.
Repair or something. Yeah, it's like kind of like a stuck command or something.
Which is maybe if your permissions get weird, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that stuff's about. I want to play more of it. Like the story stuff is kind of neat. There's like these little hidden like robotics labs buried in the backyard in places. It seems like looking at footage, there's like a lot of hidden stuff to discover.
Because it's not like a gigantic map, is the
It's
thing.
not huge.
But it has a lot of like discrete areas and little hidden stuff.
I mean, it's one backyard. Like it does some neat stuff with just kind of visibility, line of sight stuff. Like it doesn't have a mini map, which I kind of wish it did, and the map itself is a little clunky. But like you can just look up.
Yeah,
like
true.
It's like the first major objective is like, it's like go to the oak tree, go check out the explosion at the oak tree. And I was like, well, I don't see the oak tree on the map. And I was like, oh wait. What if I just looked up at the sky? Oh, there's a giant tree. I should go there.
Right. You see that tree?
You can go to there.
And it's like super heavily wooded, quote unquote, even though the trees are blades of grass and stuff. Like it seems like it intentionally makes, visibility pretty low as a survival component and stuff. It's cool. I want to play more of it.
Same here. That is Grounded. That is available now on the Xbox and the PC. So like I said, it's on Game Pass for $40. A game that we played a little bit of, which is in what state? Alpha? The finals?
The finals. It was a very limited closed alpha over the weekend, which is now over.
Pretty early.
So the finals, Brad, you want to set this one up?
It is it's the second game announced by Embark Studio, but the first one to become playable.
Okay.
Like they announced Arc Raiders last December, I think, at the Game Awards. And then the finals just got announced, I think, in the last month or two.
Was it that recent? Okay.
I think so. Maybe it's been a little longer. unless I completely missed the finals ages ago. I don't know. Embark is a Swedish studio that I don't know how many X-Dice people are there, but the general word going around seems to be a fair number of X-Dice people went there.
Okay.
It was founded by Patrick Soderlund, who came out of DICE and was a big wig at EA.
You know, he's the one who brought the Frostbite engine to all your favorite video games.
Well, now they're on Unreal 5. So
Yeah.
Also, I guess this is probably the first Unreal Engine 5 game that I have touched.
How'd it run for you?
So it's like one of the big stories out of playing this alpha. I didn't get to spend a ton of time with it. It was very limited. It was just like 3 days. But I think my biggest takeaway is it's definitely time for a new PC.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like urban environments. It's what is it? It's 4 teams of 3.
4 teams of 3.
And it's kind of a quasi game show vibe.
Yeah.
Of here are these 4 squads going into this town. I mean, maybe there are other maps that are not urban, but like this was a full on like kind of European seaside town kind of vibe.
Again, day-night cycle style thing.
Yeah, like so it was a 3 round thing, and I think there are different modes, but this was 3 full pretty lengthy rounds on the same map, but at different times of day.
Yeah.
And every round the lowest placing team was eliminated.
Right.
So you get to round 3 and it's just 2 teams kind of head to head. But yes, there's major destruction in it, like Battlefield style.
It's very cool.
Like big time, like just blow the side off a building.
One of the character I was playing, which I think is like the heavy, was I think skinned as a samurai in this by default. One of the power moves for him was just crash through the ceiling.
Oh man, I should have played that class.
Yeah, he's got a rocket launcher, which is fun because it busts holes in the wall, and he just jumps and crashes through a floor. And it works. It's fun.
It looks awesome, but it also has good gameplay implications because you can like blow a hole in the ceiling, and then that if the ceiling collapses in the right kind of diagonal way, you can use it as a ramp to get up higher in the building very quickly and stuff like that. But the point is, anytime the building destruction stuff really started popping off, I was like, oh boy, I really glad those new Ryzens just came out because it's time.
Oh, really?
Like,
Did you got framing for you?
It was hitting the frame rate pretty hard when buildings were falling apart. Which is cool. Like, it's cool.
So bad for me over here, but
yeah, you've got your stuff is definitely significantly better than mine.
I wonder if it's more CPU intense than.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've also I've only heard this from one developer that UE5 is pretty CPU bound in general.
Okay.
Which makes sense. Like, it's cool that the next gen tech is finally starting to leverage the higher compute that we've gotten in recent years. But anyway, I need to build a new PC.
I wonder how that'll shake out on consoles. If it is CPU bound,
I'd guess it'll be fine.
They got a scale for that stuff, so
the setup is you're collecting money and then depositing money. The tutorializing in it is not very great in this alpha.
So this was a very limited sign up, like you might get a key if you sign up type stuff. So it was extremely bare bones. Like the tutorial is like 2 minutes long. I think it was very much more just a like, let's put
tech,
put the network stack and all that stuff through the ringer and see how it comes out.
So they kind of throw you in there, and it seemed like you collect a bunch of money from point A, and deposit money in point B. You can steal the money when you go to deposit the money. Kind of like what is the what's Modern Warfare's Call of Duty's multiplayer mode with the what's their big platform for the multiplayer? Call of Duty stuff, Warzone. So it's like that mode in Warzone.
That's specifically the Battle Royale stuff. But
yeah, so there's like that mode in Warzone where you kind of collect the money and deposit it, and you can pay to bring people back. This one, you're kind of collecting a bunch of money as your team and then depositing it. You can interrupt the depositing countdown if you because it takes a little while for it to tick over and deposit, and you can kind of ambush people or this is what I could gather from what I was playing.
Right.
So we started with 3. Somebody dropped out. We won, and then somebody dropped out, but we made it all the way to the end and won with 2 people.
Nice.
The person I was playing with maybe was a developer. I don't know. They were just going off and doing their own thing, which I appreciate because I had no idea what I was doing. I would just follow them. But we wound up winning the whole thing, and it was kind of fun, even though I didn't really understand what was going on because of the destruction stuff and the powers. It's a little Apex-ish in terms of powers.
Yeah, they're light, medium, heavy classes in this alpha. I don't know how diverse like the class and power set stuff is going to be in the final. I don't know if it's just those 3, but like the Like the light had a zip line that you can shoot kind of wherever. The medium has that foam gun you may have seen in the trailers, where you can just straight up like lay a bunch of foam down and make a bunch of barriers or stairs or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess
a rocket launcher.
Yes, heavy has that ground pound smash building stuff.
And I also had a shield I could put out, which was
right,
which was
shield,
cool.
Yeah. It's cool. I definitely need to spend more time with a more robust version of it to really get a good feel for it.
The vibe to me was like later rounds, like the end game of Apex, when you're down to fewer teams and there's that kind of more intense focus. It had that vibe.
Yes, it's kind of like a way to get that winnowing process of a battle royale where it filters down to the top few players without just straight up doing another battle royale.
Yeah, so I appreciated that, and again, I think if that means that's the only way the destruction tech can work with fewer players on the map, I'm okay with that because it all worked. It all seemed I didn't miss 100 players in a situation.
The time of day stuff seemed pretty meaningful. Like our third, we made it to the last round and it was at night and raining and it was really hard to see in spots.
Yeah.
So like there were actual meaningful differences between rounds. It seems neat. I am looking forward to playing a more complete version.
Yeah, I went from not interested when you said we had access to this alpha to being super interested after playing it. Like it actually made me more interested getting into it.
Yeah. Arc Raiders remains the thing from them that I really want to check out though.
And the new PC and a new processor.
Also, yes, like a test bed for, hey, what can this new hardware do?
Did this game kind of sneak in there? Because I remember Arc Raiders was kind of like the first big thing the studio announced. And I feel like I heard about this, but then like I feel like I just kind of forgot it existed.
That's what I was saying earlier. I think this just got announced a month ago, it looks like. Yeah, so this only got revealed a month ago. Also, this is Nexon for whatever it's worth. I think Nexon is backing this, but
not a lot of information in terms of release date or pricing or free to play or anything, right?
Well, the last thing I'll say, if you've seen the trailer, you've seen this, but like I can confirm when you kill people, they do in fact explode into gold coins in an effect that looks pretty awesome.
Yeah. I think you're like virtualized. In the beginning, they show people running towards some screen and you jump through it into maybe like a virtual world. It is very game showy. Looks good.
Is it the metaverse? Is this the metaverse?
Maybe we'll all explode into gold coins.
God, I hope so.
Last thing I'll say here that I played quickly, Moonbreaker. So Moonbreaker also got revealed at something. It was the one where Brandon Sanderson was attached to, the writer. It's got the minis, and it is a turn-based...
Oh, it's that game!
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Exactly. It's the turn-based tactical shooter, for lack of a better term. I spent a lot of the time in the mini painter, which is reasonably fleshed out. You can do washes in it, dry brushes in it, and they work kind of as expected. The washes creep into the crevices of the mini. The dry brushing seems to just highlight the raised parts of the mini. There's airbrushing and painting. They have a pretty decent palette so you can mix your colors on. They have an auto masking tool which seems to work okay. It's not perfect, and then in terms of letting you paint a portion of the mini without spilling paint onto, let's say you're painting a fingernail without spilling onto the hand, it kind of masks it automatically. Some pieces did not get masked, but I spent a lot of time in there, and that seemed pretty well done. And then I played the actual tutorial for the game, and okay. I mean, it's
how's
if
the
you
animation?
were to replace the it's the minis kind of knocking against each other.
Yeah.
So this could be minis, it could be cards. It's positional, so I guess it couldn't be cards.
These are pretend minis, right? There's no like real world actual product line that they are.
Not yet. I get the sense there will be boosters. I think that literally there might be boosters. I poked around a little bit. It seems like there is some. It's a $30 game, and then I think you can pay for more stuff in it. So that might not be cool. It's early access, so maybe some of that will change. Again, $30 to get into the early access. And then you can pay for more stuff in it. I saw some Steam reviews saying not a fan of that model. So we'll see what they do moving forward in terms of gating some of the modes behind paying, like a ticket system. They have like a ticket system where, hey, if you want to do this arena style thing, the single player versus thing, you need more tickets. So I didn't dive too deeply into that. But you get your characters, your minis. They each have different abilities. and it's very positional. Hey, one character can pull other characters towards them, so they're closer, and they have, you can move, you can use your ability, you can attack, turn-based style stuff. So that part's not that complicated, but it is neat. I don't know if I'm going to jump back into that. I think if I were to turn off this podcast right now, I just want to go play Grounded. So
yes, I'm with you on that. Brandon Sanderson has no chill.
Yeah,
that dude needs to slow down, man.
Yeah,
save some for the rest of us.
No, that's don't get into all the video game stuff. I think Brandon Sanderson did some Fortnite stuff too. You can't unleash that person on the video game world. There's just
no.
Stop.
I thought that looked neat. I didn't have no interest really in that style of game, but like the tilt shift looking or depth of field type stuff on the miniature board, like it at least has a really nice look to it.
Honestly, the thing that I was in the miniature painter on it that I wanted to do was if they licensed out minis, I would love to bring them the minis I buy into that thing to test out paint schemes and to get
that's a neat idea.
Yeah, to get better at painting the minis I actually own, and be like, oh, I should not use this color, or I should use more red on this, or I should mix my yellow with my whatever it is. That's where I wanted to go with it. But their minis are neat, and the painting tools are cool. That's what I got out of a Moonbreaker.
Fair enough.
Available for $30. Oh, I think I got some moon breaking outside my window here, or lawn breaking. It sounds like I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there is some lawn mowing happening.
No, I didn't hear it.
Well, I think that's going to do it for the games. That's Overwatch 2, Grounded, the finals, and Moonbreaker. I also played a bunch more Spider-Hack because I love that game. And I think it's great. And I think we're going to play some more of it this week because it's a great game. So you can tune into that. I think we're going to also, maybe if we can, get into some Overwatch. We'll see on Thursday if the servers are there.
If it works.
If it works, we'll see.
If it doesn't, I'll boot up some Trombone Champ, because fuck it. Why not?
Because why not? We got a grab bag stream coming up on Thursday. You can check that out. We're going to take another break. We're going to come back with the news. And if you thought the games were weird, wait until you get to the news section. We'll be right back. All right, we are back, and it is time for the news. Now, the news.
Can I use this news?
This is news you can use,
It's
for
not
sure.
the olds. It's the news.
It's the news. This one, you got a lot of news stories. Sometimes you predict what's going to happen. Sometimes you are thinking something's going to happen. Sometimes you know something's going to happen, but still, it is shocking to you to see just how it happened. That is the case for me with Stadia.
Yeah. I can't remember what they've said previously, because I know Phil Harrison had put out a previous statement about winding down some component of Stadia. I want to say that was about their sort of first-party content development efforts.
That
right?
is correct.
That was essentially saying, like, hey, we're not going to be prioritizing making new games for Stadia anymore, I think, right?
I mean, in a pretty short amount of time from, I'm going to say late last year, I think that was like they bought the studio that made Journey to the Savage Planet, and then they eventually shut that studio down as part of their winding down of all their internal development.
Yeah. And I think in that messaging, he had already said kind of like, hey, the streaming tech we develop is sound, and we're going to work on continuing to leverage that and offering that as a platform to other developers and publishers and stuff. But now we've come full circle. They're killing Stadia. Stadia's going away. He's back. The Hatchet Man himself is back to say Stadia will be shut down on January 18th, 2023.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically saying it didn't take hold. They're basically saying what you said, Brad, what you're saying what they said.
Hasn't gained the traction with users that we expected.
Yeah. And it's probably the thing this is why I said you kind of saw it coming, because I did think the technology was pretty neat, and when it worked well, but their approach and their model never seemed to find footing or really appeal to me personally. I don't know if I was a target for this, but even in talking to people to whom I think are the targets, they also, it's not like you don't own the games. There's something about the model, I believe, of subscribing to this service or getting the hardware for Stadia, then buying the games on Stadia, where that license for that game lives on Stadia.
Yes.
Something a little more ephemeral about that.
They never had a good answer for what their platform actually was. Are they a marketplace? Are they a streaming service? They wanted to be both. And the thing is, that was never going to be a good sell, especially in a world where, not that necessarily Amazon Luna has taken hold, but there are other competitors out there in the streaming space and also in the, subscription service space. And the Stadia pitch, despite the technology being there, never made any sense from a financial standpoint. It was never I understand what this money is going toward, because you weren't getting the games as part of the subscription. The subscription was what basically gave you access to the technology, but then you had to subscribe or buy into a whole different marketplace for your games, which is a real rough road to hoe in a world where Steam and Epic exist.
Yeah. And to be fair, the subscription stuff got you tiers of the service.
Yeah. But still.
There's definitely a market for people who want to play streaming games and not worry about owning a console or buying games individually, but those people want to subscribe to a Netflix-like service.
Yes.
Enter xCloud.
Yeah.
Obviously, Microsoft seems to be the best positioned and the most savvy about how to actually make this work, because people just want to pay $10 a month and
for a catalog
stream games and not think about it. And this required too much thinking about it. Also, they just never really got there with the content offering.
No,
there just was not a lot of unique content there at all, and those efforts seemed to kind of die on the vine. They hired Jade Raymond, but then she left relatively quickly.
Okay. I'm just going to say this right now.
Yes.
Just about all of their hires for building out this service feel like the kind of thing a company with more money than sense does.
Yeah, or just not a lot of expertise in this industry or category, right?
Well, but at the same time, they did bring in people with expertise, but they're not people that, necessarily feel like they have the greatest handle on the modern game space. I'm just going to, right now, I think what I'm actually saying here is it now time to finally reevaluate the history of Phil Harrison?
I don't know, man. That's perhaps a larger question than this podcast.
I just want to briefly read to you the entirety of his Wikipedia page right now, post Sony, because that is where we all know Phil Harrison from. That is kind of where he established himself as a face and a personality in games.
Yeah, he was there a good long while, and I at least associate quality with his tenure there.
But then let's look at what came after. On the 3rd of March 2008, he joined Infogrames Atari. On 19th April 2010, he had resigned from the board of directors. In 2010, in May, he joined Gaikai.
Mm-hmm.
No idea what happened there. He might still work at Gaikai. I have no idea. They never say what happened there.
Gaikai famously acquired by Sony and turned into the PlayStation Now.
Okay, so then in March 2012, he joined the interactive entertainment team at Microsoft. In April 2015, he had left Microsoft Game Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Did he do anything in that time? Can you name a thing that Phil Harrison did at Microsoft in that 3-year span?
Helped launch the Xbox One?
That's not
Studio
the thing
acquisition?
That's not the thing I would hang my hat on.
Mm.
And then after that, January 2018, he joins Google as a general manager. And then Stadia is announced in 2019. September 2022, Stadia is being shut down. What has he done since 2008?
Fair. I don't know. But I'm not trying to steer away from the Phil Harrison retrospective, but Google also notorious history for starting stuff up and shutting it down.
There is blame to spread around here because, again, I think Google had a lot more money than sense here, and that is the way a lot of Google projects tend to go, is that they throw a bunch of money at a thing, hope it becomes the next biggest thing in the world, and if it doesn't, they eventually abandon it.
I have no problem. It seems to me, and Brad, I feel like you've brought this up a lot in the past. Google, ruthless when it comes to just ending a project. They're not a throw good money after bad. They will just kill kill a thing. And
yes.
There are no sacred cows there. It's just like it's if it's not Google proper or it is not involved in their ad business, it is up for it could be axed at any moment.
So I think I remember, Brad, you were probably the most vocal out of the three of us when this thing started of like, oh, this is Google. We'll see how long this, Google wants to support this pet project.
Well, they were making a good pitch. Like I remember us live streaming that announcement stuff in the San Francisco office, and like we were fairly excited about the pitch they were making. They just never really came through, or they never followed through, which is what I was saying earlier. Like they just never brought the exclusive content offering to bear that they needed to get people invested in this thing.
And the technology, while good, I just don't think was ever exciting enough to overcome the various business practice missteps they made along the way. Like, I think it always kind of worked, but no one was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Well, like some of those tech features they were pitching at the beginning of like, oh, you can have like as many people in a split screen thing as you want because each person can just have their own server blade running their portion of the game. You don't have to worry about one video game console rendering 4 people's viewport anymore or whatever. Like, I don't know that ever actually made it into a shipping game. I'm not sure.
And there was like handoff. Wasn't there handoff streaming from YouTube? If somebody's streaming a thing, you could pick up. If Brad, you were streaming a game using Stadia on YouTube, watching could jump in or something, or like take over. There was some kind of shared ecosystem.
Yeah, they talk about that. I want to say some of that stuff maybe came to fruition. I can't say for sure.
So yeah, I think I think there's probably a future here, and they know there's a future here with their tech, but I think they just couldn't break into that game space.
I think there is
the content side is the problem.
There is a future in game streaming. I think they thought they were going to be at the vanguard of it, but they did not have the content offering nor the business strategy to bring in anyone but the most tech-forward players.
Yeah, I think when he made that previous announcement about them kind of retiring their first-party content efforts, I want to say like Capcom and Sega were some names thrown around of like publishers who might make use of their streaming backend. So it seems like maybe that's the type of future you can expect for that technology. But like the writing has been on the wall for this ever since that previous messaging from Harrison about the content stuff.
So I think
then it still just kind of came out of nowhere and seems to have taken quite a few development partners by surprise. But like, I feel like the thing we're not mentioning here, which is like kind of shocking to me, is they are straight up refunding everything that everybody bought.
That is crazy.
That is the part
hardware,
I did not expect. So I purchased this, and I would not have expected a refund.
Software, maybe I could see software, although like a lot of companies wouldn't even do that. But hardware, I mean, fucking what is Google's market cap? They can afford it.
Well, they can afford it, but the thing is, but they've also put players in a weird situation because there are a bunch of people who played these games on this service, and like their saves are on that are on those servers somewhere. I think like the Cyberpunk devs were like, "Hey, we're talking to Google right now about finding a way to get your Cyberpunk saves in so that you can have them on a different platform or something." Like there is definitely a lot of like scuttling around trying to figure out like, how do I get access to the stuff that I've been playing on these servers all this time?
Yeah, like major developers have put out some statements, like Bungie said, like they've begun conversations about next steps as far as what to do with your Destiny progress. Like IO has said basically the same thing about Hitman. Ubisoft is basically talking like they're going to migrate the stuff you bought on Stadia over to their own platform.
Yeah.
Which I guess is called Ubisoft Connect this week. But yeah, like the refund stuff, like sounds like that was not communicated very well to customer support and stuff either. But yeah, like it sounds like by and large, any money you put into this thing, you're going to get back and not have to return the hardware. So that's more generous than I would have expected out of this.
So they're going to do software. They're going to do game and content purchases, and hardware, but they're not doing subscription.
No, they're not giving your subscription money back.
Okay. If you signed up for, what was it, Stadia Pro or whatever, no, that's just gone.
Okay. So, I mean, I've got the hockey puck thing that goes into the TV and the controller. That's
Chromecast?
The hardware I bought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just a Chromecast, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, you might as well use it as a hockey puck.
Is Chromecast?
No, it's fine.
I never really used it.
It's fine.
I mean, for a while, Stadia didn't work on a Chromecast, right? Like that was kind
No,
of
the Stadia
joke.
stuff. I'm not the Stadia stuff on Chromecast was not fine at launch, but I mean, as a general Apple TV-esque
yes.
thing to stream to, like they're fine.
And I've got the controller, so I've got the hardware there. I assume they will give me a credit on a Google Wallet, and I assume that's probably the easiest thing for them to do for most people is to credit your Google account, because you had to make one to buy this thing. It's not like you could buy it outside of the Google ecosystem. I would think it would be much harder for them to try and charge back to any kind of credit card or something like that, because my credit card has probably expired or changed since then. So I assume I will get something that says, hey, you have X amount of dollars in a Google Wallet on your account, and I don't know what to do with that. Buy some kind of gift card eventually with it. If I ever get my refund, which they're saying midpoint January 2023 for them to kind of process all this stuff.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, there's a FAQ up, and they basically say they are still working through the refund process and haven't fully nailed down all the details yet. I don't know how they'll distribute that stuff. I mean, you should be able to just spend that money anywhere that takes like the Google's transaction system the same way as like an Apple Pay would work.
Yeah. I'm just not in that ecosystem. Like I'm not in the Apple Pay ecosystem, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. I mean, it's just a weird thing. I didn't expect a refund on any of that stuff. You don't get a refund on your Ouya, or you don't get unless you're in some kind of class.
I mean, what's the
action
refund
suit.
there? You're still enjoying your Ouya today, aren't you?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What's the Coleco one?
Did that thing ever actually come out?
I don't know if it actually came out.
Okay.
Yet. Don't expect a refund there.
Don't expect a refund, and I'm just going to say this as a warning to all game developers out there. If Phil Harrison walks through your door, run.
Oh, gee, Phil Harrison. You're trying to blow the whistle on Phil Harrison, huh?
Look, man, all I'm saying is that he's like one of those dudes that keeps getting head coaching jobs despite the fact that he has not had a winning season since 2008.
You think this is the end that we hear front-facing from Google on video games for a long time?
For a while.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I think they will find their way to dip their toe back in eventually, and that tech will probably find its way into something, but I don't know.
I just, maybe coincidentally, or maybe it was seated in my brain, just yesterday, for the first time, tried Sony streaming stuff. I streamed some Ratchet and Clank to my PS5. Seemed to go okay.
Yeah. What little I've dabbled in it seemed functional.
Like over remote play, or
no, the actual streaming,
like the PS3 games that only stream and stuff.
It only did 720p for that stuff, which I get, for that era, but it was neat. Seemed to work. I mean, streaming stuff is going to happen. It
is happening. It just has not taken like a mainstream hold yet.
Yeah, it just needs to be implemented well.
Again, like just quietly over there doing it for real.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a good... My case that I always bring up is on release day, if I weren't able to preload something, or I just decided to buy a big game that's maybe like 60, 70 gigs, I would love to be able to stream it immediately while it downloads in the background. Or when I turn the console off, have it download the game. So I can play immediately, and then the next time I play, maybe it's downloaded. But
yeah, I mean, that was part of the xCloud pitch. I don't know if they've implemented that or not yet, but...
Yeah, like the best of both worlds, right? Like, oh, hey, we all decided to go play this game. You don't have to download it. You can just stream and play it now. And if you want to, you can download it later and have it. So we'll see what happens with Stadia. See what happens with those refunds.
Yeah.
Controller was interesting.
That's a nice way of putting it.
One word for it.
Well, it's connected right to the internet. Remember that? It was like it was like, okay.
Yeah, that was interesting in terms of reducing latency.
Yeah. I wonder if anybody will crack that thing open to work with something else at some date. Let's move on to what is going on with Disco Elysium and the studio behind it.
Good question.
Seems to have been some kind of involuntary exodus of talent from the team.
Yeah,
which I still don't know how to pronounce, and don't think I want to try. I don't know. You tell me.
I couldn't even read it.
I've always just called them Zaum.
Okay.
That's kind of what I say in my head.
But yes.
So this is all coming from a Medium post from Martin, is it Luega?
I think it's Luega.
Louis
Yeah,
got?
I think that's right. Yeah, so a member of the studio has essentially said that all of the lead creatives that worked on Disco Elysium have been forced out of the studio.
And it seems like it was the work of the parent company.
This boy is about the last possible ending for that outfit that I could have ever expected, given the sort of political bent of that game and also what I know of the culture of the studio.
But that's the thing, is that they did have a parent organization. It sounds like, and that's the risk you always run with something like this that becomes very successful, is that eventually people are like, they want to seize on that.
Yeah, I mean, he basically blames the money people for this happening. There are not a lot of firm details about this, to be clear. Like, we basically should just say, hey, this seems to have happened and move on, because we really don't know exactly what happened. Like, most of what's been said is extremely vague.
Yes, it's written, like,
written
kind of oddly.
I think the studio was, like, kind of a collective structure previously, right?
I believe so, yes.
Was my understanding.
Like, I don't know that it was specifically a, like, co-op style thing, but it was very much like a more collective organization.
Yeah. I mean, he refers to it in his Medium post as the Zaum Cultural Association.
Right.
Which he draws a distinction about, right?
Yeah.
Between that and the company.
So, like, there are still developers that worked on Disco Elysium that are there and that are working on what is presumably the sequel to that game.
Yeah. But they haven't said what they're working on, but job listings and some stuff they have said sort of imply in that direction.
And the thing that I saw going around today, I have not verified, so take this with a grain of salt potentially, but is that a lot of the jobs they're hiring for are in like New York and London. And this is very much an Eastern European team. And that game is very much one born of Eastern European culture.
Yeah, are they in Estonia?
Like, I believe so, or at least some of them were, at least.
Yeah. He I don't know that you could read into some of the stuff he says in this Medium post about, like, again, I think the cultural organization that he keeps referring to is sort of that loose, flat collective structure that they had. He says, I still encourage people to organize, and I would say that one of the qualities that the cultural organization sorely lacked was pretty much any formal structure. For a while, it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
The whole the Medium post reads like one of the internal monologues in Disco Elysium. It is kind of wordy and, takes a couple of glancing overs to try and get what is trying to be said there. It is not it's also kind of short. It's only like 2 paragraphs long, but it's
saddening.
Okay. Yeah,
because Disco Elysium was kind of one of the big success stories of indie games in recent years, and it just sucks to see kind of the air sucked out of that thing.
Yeah, he did post a picture of the executive producers of the first game on Twitter in response to somebody saying the suits have killed Disco. So make of that what you will. What I'm saying you should make of that is, it seems like the suits, the money people, may have gained too much influence. I don't know.
That seems to be his implication, at the very least.
Yes. It's a common thing to happen when a unexpected runaway success occurs.
Yep.
Anyway, who knows what the future of Disco Elysium and that studio is at this point.
I do not.
I bet the people who have been forced out will not have a hard time doing something else in games.
Oh, yeah.
That console version came out not that long ago, right? It was a year or so?
It's been about a year, I think.
All right. Let's go to another very popular game. Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, now, okay. This news here, the lead on it is, Halo and possibly switching to Unreal here.
Rumors say, reported by a variety of journalists.
What do you think about this, Brad?
Well, it seems very indeterminate what the details are, so it's kind of hard to say too much about it. I mean, there's no way they're rebasing Halo Infinite on Unreal.
Okay, that's what I was really going to ask you.
No fucking
that's
way.
a hell of a thing to try and undertake.
Are they going to port an entire released game to a new engine, or if they do, then it's kind of unprecedented?
So what does that mean, though?
In the history of games, well, they have this rumored battle royale project in the hopper.
Mm-hmm.
That is not part of Infinite?
Project Tatanka is the thing that people have been talking about for a while that is supposed Halo Battle Royale in the works, and so presumably that could be moving to Unreal.
Okay. Because they still have to put pieces into Infinite, right? Aren't there still
There are still
chunks?
things missing.
I could be wrong. Like, they could actually be doing that. It would just be like a Herculean undertaking that would be like kind of shocking to see.
Yes.
Maybe not the best use of their resources.
I haven't kept up with, there's constant stories about unrest with the Halo Infinite audience and like what is going on at 343 and blah, blah, blah. And like they've had some leadership shakeups recently. Bonnie Ross left, although it sounds like that was largely for personal reasons. But I guess also their head of engineering, or the lead engineer on their current tech, left.
Oh boy,
a month ago.
That's not a good one.
I don't know, man. Like bespoke internal engines seem like they are getting harder and harder to maintain. Or
they always were, is the thing.
Yeah, but I mean, development has gotten so much more complicated. I mean, there's also the possibility that they have just got a grotesque amount of tech debt built up over time that they can't really ever stop long enough to purge to fix their own stuff because they've just got to keep making more game. I don't know. I'm like, Unreal is great. Like, it's hard to find a developer that has much negative to say about Unreal, I feel like. At the same time, the idea that like everything is going to be Unreal eventually, I'm not sure how I feel about that either.
When everything is Unreal, what is real?
I mean, like the features they announced at UE5 are like, standard setting. Like my understanding is that Unreal has by far the best tool chain of any off-the-shelf engine that you can license. Not that there are that many options out there.
No.
It sounds like Unreal is like the industry standard for a reason. At the same time, the idea of everything running on it eventually, we're never going to get to the point where literally everything does, but...
Well, you also get your talent that you get also will be more familiar with Unreal if it's out there and prolific.
Yeah, like those skills obviously transfer between studios to an extent. I mean, obviously everybody modifies, stuff to their needs.
Right.
But it's not the same thing as like a studio having its own internal engine.
And maybe even within some place like Microsoft, if they have all those teams now and they need to pull and push people from projects, getting someone up to speed on your engine could be troublesome. I'm not in that space, but
yeah, I'm trying to think like what everything else at Microsoft runs on. Like Coalition obviously is like, Gears, and then the Coalition big Unreal Studios because Gears was always on Unreal. Isn't Sea of Thieves Unreal?
I don't know.
It might be.
I think that's right. Yes, I guess that was Rare's first game moving to Unreal.
Like, is Psychonauts on Unreal?
What other? I believe that's the case. I think. Gosh, please hold while I Google every Microsoft first-party release from the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, does Bethesda go into Unreal?
Psychonauts 2 was on UE4. No, I would guess no. I would guess they stick with what they've got.
IdTech or whatever they're running.
And what's that?
Are they still doing stuff on IdTech?
No, they never went anywhere near. When Bethesda bought id years and years ago, like 2009 or whatever it was, I asked somebody who worked on, somebody I know who at the time worked on Bethesda stuff, Fallout and Elder Scrolls. I was like, how long before we get a Fallout on the Doom 3 engine or whatever it was at the time? Rage, I guess at the time. He was like, yeah, if you want the games to take a decade, then sure.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Although, interestingly, I pulled up a roundtable that Microsoft ran right after the Bethesda acquisition was announced yesterday, because I remembered Phil Spencer saying some stuff, and sure enough, he was in there talking about leveraging id as a Xbox-wide tech support studio, or talking about using id tech at different Microsoft first-party studios.
So what's Wolfenstein running on?
The first two Wolfenstein games were both id tech.
Oh, they were. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like maybe they're looking to frostbite it up and just kind of unify their development chain across.
It didn't go well for Frostbite.
Well, that's Frostbite.
That's
Frostbite.
That was EA trying to save money by not paying Epic whatever percentage of their sales they had to contractually.
Yeah.
By using their internal technology, which was not well supported.
But I mean,
it was
more
well supported
specifically
for very specific things and very much not for anything else.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not, I don't think it's the case that EA couldn't have made the investments against cross-studio support that they needed to. It just seems like they did not.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
they just assumed they'd figure it out.
Like, Sony generally uses internal technology across almost all of its first-party stuff, but, like, they actually do the work to support those studios. You know, there's, like, there's the ICE team at Naughty Dog, which is their kind of, like, crack team of R&D and tech specialists that are there to grease the wheels for all of Sony's studios on the technology front.
And is God of War internal also?
Yes. Don't quote me.
Okay.
I think most Sony stuff is internal, right?
Yeah.
Naughty Dog definitely is, like, let's see. Yes, God of War. The previous God of War game is proprietary engine.
All right. This is
Horizon, like, famously, like, Guerrilla has the Decima engine. Like, their stuff is all internal as well.
So and that's the engine that Death Stranding was on, right?
Yes.
This is, we should say again, rumored, not confirmed yet, but that's a heck of a thing.
I don't know too many specifics, but if it's the case that 343 has been saddled again with, like, years and years of tech debt based on, you know, whatever the origins of their current tech were and how far back they go.
Yeah.
This might be the exact clean break they need. Like, you heard the same shit about Bungie with Destiny for years, you know? Like, you heard about all that stuff about, like, you want to make some minor tweaks to a Destiny map. You have to, like, move the objects around that you want and then wait 24 hours for the build server to spit out a new usable version of the level to test and stuff like that.
I did not hear that. That sounds like a nightmare.
That's years in the past. I mean, presumably they've ameliorated some of that stuff, but, like, I don't know.
Well, more on that, I'm sure, and probably more on Halo Infinite as that game continues to come out over the next 3 years. Forge and the co-op campaign, right? Still, we're waiting on those.
Yes, those things are still going, and then whatever this rumored battle royale thing is, sounds like it might be a separate product. I would be blown away if there's no way they're moving Infinite over. This has got to be a projects going forward thing.
It is also wild to me if they were to try to port that whole thing over. That's bananas. All right, you mentioned Horizon, Brad. There's other Horizon news here. I guess speaking of the engines that these games run on, how hard would it be to just turn the knobs and make it run better on a PS5? Pretty easy, right?
Well, that's the thing. They did that already, so this is even weirder because multiple sources reporting that a Horizon Zero Dawn remake or remaster or something is coming to PS5. It has to be way more of a remaster than a remake, I would think. Because that game's not that old. It's like,
no, it's not.
It's like 5 years old.
That was end of PS4 lifespan.
And again, Zero Dawn got updated. It did not become a PS5 SKU, but it got updated to, they unlocked the frame rate. They let it run at checkerboarded in 4K. Et cetera. Like, you can play a pretty good version of Horizon Zero Dawn on the PS5 already. But, they did that the PC version first. And, like, that got new engine bells and whistles and some stuff. And then Forbidden West obviously is a major step up over Zero Dawn on the tech side. So, like, maybe it's not that surprising that, like, I guess I should detail, like, the rumors are they're going back in and, like, redoing textures and animations and character models. Adding accessibility features, which they put a lot more of into Forbidden West. Like, that's kind of thing that would be great to see. Like, I don't want to assume too much, but from the sound of it, I would guess this is a pretty low impact project, all things considered.
Yeah, I guess. I really don't know. I guess if you have some of the existing tech and the engines aren't too dissimilar, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, they've done all this work to upgrade the engine since that game came out. Like, I would guess that backporting a lot of this stuff would not be terribly difficult.
Well, and I've seen a lot of people talking bandy about the idea that, like, a lot of these remasters and remakes are happening because it is a thing you can do to get a new set of developers' feet wet. Using existing stuff and just sort of, like, upgrading versus, like, creating an entirely new game. Like, it's a low investment for new talent, I'm not sure that's exactly what they're doing here because obviously they haven't even announced this thing. But I think is something that Sony has been dabbling in.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was speculating about with the Last of Us remake.
Yeah.
But that one is far enough removed that you can also like sell it as a new product, barely, right? Just barely. Because half of the narrative about that release was like, already? It's only been not even 10 years yet, and now here we are. This has barely been 5 years. Anyway.
Yeah,
that'll probably happen. Like, the bigger part of this is that there's also a multiplayer Horizon game rumored as part of this.
Yeah, not a lot of details, but yeah.
No. Yes, the like multiple sources seem to have hinted at the same thing, which is that they are doing some kind of online co-op multiplayer Horizon game. Let's see. This was all reported by a site called MP First, which I'm not familiar with, but they have since been cited by other sites. Like it seems to be a decent amount of credibility to this. They say, let's see, may feature some form of co-op. Customization is said to be around the different tribes established in the Horizon franchise. However, we have not been able to verify either that or the details on whether or not the online would feature any sort of co-op or PvP.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
The obvious parallel to me is that you could make a pretty cool Monster Hunter style game with giant robot dinosaurs.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's
is the first thing that I would think of there, although that's like a weird swerve from the like singular power fantasy of the Horizon games where you're one human being taking down these like giant T-Rexes and stuff.
You'd
also, of course, whatever. That's easily explained away by saying like, "Hey, Aloy is a cut above."
Yeah.
The randos you're playing in this co-op game need to work together.
You're just some guys here
to pull off the shit that she does by herself.
I think the probably the bigger problem would be making sure the weapon variety and class quote unquote variety is there in something where it kind of isn't there for Aloy. You know, you have your sling blast. Like, are you just going to have a slingshot class that can't use the other weapons? You know, or hey, this is the. You'd have to kind of specialize.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that stuff being broken out and kind of honed a little better because I feel like Forbidden West is just overstuffed with
a little bit.
Dude, holy shit!
Trip
all
blaster.
The weapon, not even just weapon types, but all of the techniques and stuff and abilities that you can unlock on top of those.
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of a lot. Like, if they split those up between classes, that might be a little more focused.
More manageable.
I don't know. That's an idea with some potential.
I could see it. I could also see this happening in a post, Bungie acquired world where Sony wants to get out there and leverage some of that knowledge to get online and do live service stuff. And
and it's a way to kind of milk the Horizon IP more frequently than once every 5 years.
Yeah, they don't get out there. I mean, Sony had Uncharted online stuff, and oh boy, was there Last of Us multiplayer?
Yeah. Yes. Last of Us Factions was
Factions. That's
I don't know what kind of numbers it did, but like the people that liked it really liked it.
That's the thing. It was good. It was thing.
Neat. It was neat, and purportedly, that's like kind of, or actually, I mean, they've said it. Naughty Dog has said, "Hey, we're working on a multiplayer project."
So yeah,
it has to be that.
They don't have a lot of with their marquee titles, big online presence. So aside from the multiplayer mode, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see them dip their toe into that, I guess. Oh boy, man, the companies on this news list this week. Brad, let's talk about CD Projekt and
what do you want to talk about?
Well, they kind
what's going down?
They kind of got out there and did this big old flexing corporate, hey, the state. Hey, what do you want to know about CD Projekt? Here's 7 things that we've got. Half of them are The Witcher. The other half are Cyberpunk.
It's been a bumpy couple of years for CD Projekt.
Yeah,
if they're on the upswing, I don't really blame them for getting out there and saying it.
I'll say right now, it seems like they are on the upswing.
They definitely are. Like, Cyberpunk has been doing fucking gangbusters numbers on Steam. I don't know if you've seen since.
I have not.
It's so much so that it has almost got me thinking about trying to play that game again.
Yeah, like I might, when I finally build a new PC, I might finally go check that game out. Now that
I never got that far into it, so like it's kind of all new to me.
Gosh, I should pull that up. Like, it hits some fucking ridiculous Steam benchmark. Like, I think they hit 1 million concurrent players or something. Wait, no. Oh, it was 1 million in one day. It was not concurrent all at one time, but
That's still a lot.
they're putting up ridiculous numbers since they have quote-unquote fixed that game.
And the PS5 update is out there, like the next-gen update, I think, so...
Oh, I forgot. I totally forgot that Netflix animated series also came out, which is also really propelling it as well.
Seemed relatively well-regarded, that series.
Yes.
That must be part of their flywheel method here that they are...
what's going on here?
The spinning up the franchise flywheel. And video games to TV and film to mobile games to books and comics to partnership and merchandise.
Oh, cross-media strategy.
Yeah. So, Brad, let's dive into the game stuff and their 6 code-named projects they have going on.
So they've announced a whole new trilogy of Witcher games.
Mm-hmm.
They've announced not only the expansion to Cyberpunk, but also a Cyberpunk sequel.
So we have Project Polaris, which is their new Witcher trilogy.
Yes.
I'm trying to find these. Okay, then it's the Cyberpunk. Is that Project Origin?
Orion?
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, Orion. That's the new Cyberpunk.
Yes. Which I don't know if they had said they were making a full sequel yet or not.
And that's
why would you until now? Because there was not enough momentum there up until recently.
Yeah.
I
think they said that entire Witcher trilogy will release in the space of 6 years.
Good luck.
Which seems somewhat ambitious, but...
And then they've got Project Sirius, which is more Witcher stuff, but by the Molasses Flood. Do you guys know who the Molasses Flood is?
I don't. I've heard that name.
I do not know. I mainly had paid attention to the stuff they were doing themselves here. Set in the Witcher universe, targets a broader audience, provides both single player and multiplayer. I don't know what to make of that.
Okay.
Oh, Molasses Flood is the studio that did The Flame in the Flood.
That is what I just saw, yes.
Okay. Interesting choice. Okay.
That might be a smaller scope sort of thing then, potentially.
And then, there's Project Canis Majoris, which is a full-fledged release set in the Witcher universe to be developed by an external studio under the supervision of experienced developers who have previously worked on Witcher games. They're going to use UE5 and the same tools they are using for their Witcher trilogy, they say. Yeah,
I want to say, I think the whole studio has moved to Unreal at this point. Post Cyberpunk.
Yet another one.
And they've got, I guess the big new thing here is that in addition to all of that, they are also now incubating their next full franchise, which is the first thing they will have conceived entirely under their roof.
What's that codename project?
Hadar?
Sure.
Hadar. I don't think there are any details at all about what that will be. But again, Witcher and Cyberpunk both based on existing properties.
So really it's a Cyberpunk, Witcher, and Hadar future.
Yeah.
A whole lot of RPGs. They said that Hadar will also be an RPG. Believe it or not.
That's what they know how to make.
Yeah, so CD Projekt really seems to have turned it around pretty quickly after the Cyberpunk boondoggle.
And I think a lot of this is, again, showing off of what they can do and try and reinstill some confidence in investors and people in the marketplace to say, we are strong. We are strong. In addition to this, they went through their whole cycle of, they've got, like I said, I didn't make up the flywheel thing. This is their PowerPoint presentation of IPs based off of their IPs, or products based off of like you said, they have the animated stuff going on. They have, books, a bunch of other stuff, merchandise. They are trying to spin up this stuff, get the flywheel moving with enough momentum so that other things can spin off of it.
It's a flywheel.
Flywheels are those giant stone discs that once you get the momentum going, kind of keep going for a while. They're spinning.
Oh, okay.
In a thing.
Yes, of course.
Or not stone, but heavy discs. That just get moving.
Yeah, of course. It uses conservation of angular momentum to store rotational energy.
Yeah, there you go. And so once they get that baby moving with good enough momentum on the Witcher flywheel,
get the flywheel going, games just start flying out.
It's just Gwent cards just shoot themselves right out of there,
flying everywhere.
They were not okay. Wait, maybe I'm totally wrong on this. I'll just ask it as a question. What is CD Projekt's involvement in the Witcher live action series?
I don't know.
Are they part of that licensing, or is that
there's any involvement?
Okay.
I'm not sure they do have any actual like stake in that thing.
I wonder that I could be wrong. I was under the impression they had licensed that directly from the author.
Okay.
I think so. And the author was, at last check, not on the best terms with CD Projekt Red, I don't think.
I thought they eventually reached some kind of agreement, but he seemed pretty salty about the thing I always got was he seemed a little salty about A, the deal, B, that the games were maybe more popular than his original work.
Yeah, he was. I'm following up. This was like 3 years ago. He was like demanding millions in royalties that he claimed he was owed.
Yeah,
and they finally came to terms and signed a new agreement.
So I wonder. I mean, listen, a Witcher TV series, no matter who is a part of it, benefits the games.
Yes,
indirectly.
Definitely.
I think that TV series is directly based on his books.
I think that's true. I mean,
clearly, they are taking a lot of aesthetic inspiration from the games.
Yes.
I kind of fell off of that. I enjoyed the first season well enough, but never got back to it.
Did you ever finish the games?
No.
Pretty good.
I put about 50 hours into Witcher 3 and kind of burned out in Novigrad somewhere.
I'm curious what they'll do with the next a new Witcher trilogy. Like, I don't think it's gonna be Geralt.
No, I think they've said that.
Oh, did they say they're moving on?
Flat out said it will not be.
It's time.
It's time. All right. It's time.
Is it also time for a Need for Speed?
Is it time for a Need for Speed?
But anime?
Is it time for an anime Need for Speed? I don't know.
That's what they're doing.
This is out of a leak of screenshots. Are these leaks anymore, or are these just subtle planned releases?
This was like a slip up from a retailer.
Oh, one of those, huh?
So that's more of a back end error or something, or human error, than it is an intentional leak.
Japanese retailer NeoWing.
God, it's still up. Wow. You can still go to the neowing.co.jp product listing with a price on it and everything and still see these screenshots for NFS Unbound is how they're styling the logo.
Mm-hmm.
Need for Speed Unbound.
So this
looks like anime.
It's got a very anime-looking, flat-shaded look to it.
Also, A$AP Rocky is in it, apparently.
Sure.
Yeah?
I mean, look, that's a decision you probably made 3 years ago.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the extent of our commentary on this is like, boy, this is weird. Like, I don't have it in me to keep up with the mess of Need for Speed's development anymore.
There is a blurb here from the listing that says, bringing graffiti to life in a completely new visual style, merging the latest street art with the most realistic cars in Need for Speed history. Go to meetups and show off your style with many items, including limited edition gear from the world's latest fashion. Then add the finishing touches to your card style, transforming it with unique wraps and cutout items to match your legendary custom car, and take the lead in races and put your winning pose above the competition.
Yeah.
That sounds like Need for Speed, modern Need for Speed.
Sure.
I mean, that's the thing. What is modern Need for Speed?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was getting at. Like, the last, at least 3 games have landed, with a thud.
There's no real identity there.
Right. Well, I mean, I would even say that with the developers. I don't know what Criterion is at this point, and, I think Ghost Games no longer exists, right? Wasn't that folded back into the Criterion name?
I believe that's the order that went in, yeah.
And now they've got Codemasters under the EA roof, and I guess I didn't even realize this. Codemasters Cheshire is technically now part of the Criterion org chart.
Sure.
As well. So, who's making Need for Speed and what it is so hard to follow at this point, and the last several attempts have been so limp that it's just, I don't know, man. Change my mind, I guess. They had teased that they were going to reveal the new Need for Speed game already. So it seems like listing just went up early, potentially. Maybe they'll have some more to say about it that sounds interesting. I don't know. Stay tuned.
Is this still something in this article says EA made no announcement about the next Need for Speed title other than telling investors one was coming by the end of 2022. You think that still holds up?
I mean, this listing says a release date in December.
Man. Don't they always?
Also, actually, probably by the time nearly everybody hears this podcast, that announcement will have gone out because it's at 11 a.m. Eastern on Thursday.
All right.
So, but this is probably real.
Need for Speed Unbound, possibly.
You heard it here first. Probably real.
Sure.
Speaking of things that are supposed to be happening as of the time of this recording, tomorrow, what's up with Mario?
I think you know.
People have been asking that question for years, man.
What's up with Mario?
I think you know.
Is Mario coming to the big screen again? Is Mario animated?
Re-debuting.
They're putting out a trailer Thursday for that Mario movie.
And they put out a poster for it.
And the style is kind of neat.
Yeah,
it's colorful.
You can see the denim on his pants.
I like the realistic looking grass on everything. Like it kind of just looks like the Mushroom Kingdom from a recent 3D Mario, except the grass looks kind of more realistic in a weird way.
Now the thing they don't show though,
is
Mario's face.
Yeah, like right before we recorded this morning, seemingly the look of Mario's face leaked from a McDonald's flyer.
What, really?
Yes.
On a Discord server?
Oh, what did that look like? Did it look different than Mario?
Okay. How do I describe this in words as opposed to just putting it in front of you and saying, does this look right?
Is this a Sonic situation?
Not exactly.
No.
I mean, they did make the eyes different.
Here's what it is.
In a very ugly Sonic-esque fashion, they did sort of reduce the size of his cartoonish eyes in a way that makes him look kind of uncanny.
They reduced the size of the eyes a little bit. They widened the face in a sort of Joe Shishido-like way. And the problem is, in this comparison image that I'm looking at, it's faded because it's a picture of a flyer and not like the bright colored, art assets you normally see for Mario.
Uh-huh.
So the color looks a little off, but I think that might just be the flyer. It doesn't look that different, but when I look at it, I'm like one of those chimpanzees you show an artificial person to and they start pointing and screaming because it doesn't look right.
I just looked it up. And is the fist pumped in the air?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this looks like a person in a Mario suit. This looks like a head on top of a real human.
My first reaction when I saw this was, it's Mario, but he kind of looks maybe just a tiny bit like Chris Pratt.
They ran the Pratterizer over him.
That's kind of, I don't know if it's just me.
It looks like you'd go to a theme park and this is the person you'd see.
Yes.
Walking around. That's what it looks like.
This is Mario walking around Times Square.
Yes.
This is the one who accosts you for a photo and then gets really mad when you don't pay for it.
Yeah.
Like there's also something a little more with, I think even the proportions on the arms look weird. Like the whole
everything's a little wider. It's all just a little wider.
Yeah.
They widened him by 10%.
If only we had some reference Mario art we could have used over the years.
If only.
I think that it's actually going to be fine in motion. It's just that everyone is like picking this thing apart for every little detail they can. I'm doing it too. I'm not.
But everybody knows what Mario looks like.
Yeah.
It's not like you could sneak a Mario through.
But what Mario has looked like has evolved over the years.
Well, that was the old Mario.
Yeah, we
new order is rising.
Old Mario dead. This new Mario.
I'm curious to see what in the movie trailer we get during the direct, do you think it is a final shot reveal of Mario's face and voice?
No, I think he's right out of the gate.
He's all over that trailer.
You do? Okay, I was going to think maybe we get everybody but Mario until the end and it's like a teaser.
No, you can't do that. Like you gotta sell right from the jump.
What do you guys think about them? This is our last chance. This is our last chance.
Last guess on the voice.
What? Yeah, the voice. Is
man.
he doing like an Italian American?
I think yes.
You think yes? I think he just skips it.
I think it is this weird, ungainly halfway point between him doing the half Italian thing and him doing the Captain Lou Albano thing.
Okay, so maybe he just has a New York accent.
It's like a New York Italian, but like with a little bit more of the up and down of the actual Italian accent.
My kids asked me if Mario was a bad stereotype. My
Is he?
children asked me, well, is he an Italian American stereotype? And I said, yeah, I pretty much is a pretty rough Italian American stereotype. And so I would think if Chris Pratt is out there doing a Captain Lou Albano, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's a thing you want to see Chris Pratt doing.
Okay, is that less or more jarring than Chris Pratt just talking normal out of Mario's mouth?
Oh, you mean like doing the Lego movie?
Yeah, pretty much.
I think he can get away with it.
If he just sounds like white guy, is that going to do it for you?
I mean, he's definitely got a good generic protagonist in an animated movie voice, but like they've talked this up too much, like it's going to be more than that.
And Mario can't be that. I'm sorry, it's just not. There's too many years of built-up history there.
I don't know what Mario can be because we've had too many years of Charles Martinet.
Yeah,
I know.
And also, not only that, but Mario only talks in combat barks. Like Mario only talks in gameplay barks, not full sentences.
And he just says "Mamma Mia."
The closest that he comes to a grammatically complete sentence is "It's a me, Mario." Like, otherwise, he's supposed to just, like, drop little catchphrases. Like, Mario should not have dialogue. I don't know.
Maybe he won't actually talk. Maybe Mario will have lost his voice for this entire movie, and that is the propulsion that this movie needs to go forward, and he doesn't get it until the very end. Maybe that's what we're gonna do. I don't know. I'm very curious. I'm more curious about what he sounds like than what he looks like.
I can't think. I can't imagine a voice that will actually satisfy anyone. I think they may have backed themselves into an impossible corner here.
Yeah.
Like, nobody cares what Luigi sounds like.
Yeah, it's gonna sound like Charlie Day, and that's fine, because you know what? Charlie Day can sound like anything.
Yeah, but he's not gonna do an accent, probably. He could just sound like Charlie Day, right? He's not gonna try and do like
he'll do a slightly more high-pitched, like, fearful version of the Charlie Day voice.
Oh, I didn't even consider that we might get like all of those celebrity voices in this.
Oh, we're going to hear Keegan-Michael Key's Toad. I'm telling you right now.
Oh, man. Okay, now I'm getting excited.
I think it's pure Pratt. With a New York. I don't think you go anywhere near the, like, Mamma Mia stuff with an accent. I think you just do Brooklyn. I think
you are underestimating.
I think it's a lot of, hey, Luigi, what's going on? And it's less of, like, you know, the full-on Charles Martinet, like, Luigi, we gotta go save the princess. No way. You don't go near that with, you cannot,
Why?
You know,
why can't you do it?
I think that's offensive. I think if Mario were an Asian character and you're like, Chris Pratt's gonna go do this, he's gonna go do this Asian character, he would not touch that. I'm telling you. I think it's a little weird.
I think you're underestimating the fact that it is actually impossible to be racist to Italians.
I would be shocked if they did that.
I would be surprised if they did that.
You can always do an Italian accent. It's never racist.
You could. Well,
it's never racist.
It is up there with the French and German and the European mush of accents that are mostly fair game.
Yeah,
but I would not want to hear him doing a French character or a German character either. Especially, it's not just that. Like the Italian, the Americanized version of those accents.
The spaghetti restaurant fucking chef. Yes, I know what you mean.
Yes, that is it's either that, and in the French it would be, you know, like the Pepe Le Pew, or I don't know what the German equivalent is. I'm sure somebody could fill it. It's the cartoon
fucking
version.
Colonel
of it.
Kurtz, you know, like yeah,
right. Yeah, I don't think 2022 needs that to go on a big screen. I think we're past that. Give me Pratt.
All will be revealed.
Oh, man. Very excited. Very excited. Would you see this movie in a theater? I would.
I haven't been to a movie theater in a very long time, my friend.
It's time to go back, Jack.
I don't know if that's the one that's going to be to bring me back.
This is it. Who's putting this out? Do we remember?
It's Illumination, right? Is the animation studio?
Okay.
I forget which studio is distributing it, but
well, they launched Nintendo Pictures off the back of this. Remember?
Yeah, but they're still partnering with an actual film studio, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's Illumination on the poster. Okay.
Yeah. They're just the animation studio, right?
They are an animation studio, yes.
I'm not sure which. Some studio probably has to be handling distribution and so forth.
I'm curious. All right, that's going to do it. We'll find out. By the time you hear this, you might know. And all
very, very possible.
Very, very possible.
Just since we were talking about distributed by Universal.
Okay, that's who I thought it was, but I wasn't sure.
We're gonna be streaming tomorrow when that happens. I think we're gonna try and watch it live during our stream.
Have a little break.
We might cut in to watch
at least the
this
trailer.
Yeah,
as it happens. So
I want to see this fucking trailer, man. I'm ready.
So do I. Brad, you've never seen the Bob Hoskins movie, right?
Nope.
Great, fantastic. That's Mario's voice.
I think when's that movie coming out? February.
The Mario one?
April.
All right, I'm calling it right now. April Watchcast video game movies.
Bob Hoskins was English, and he just did a New York accent in it, and it worked. It worked just fine.
Bob Hoskins, of all British actors, maybe had the greatest command of regional American accents.
I mean, the man was an accomplished thespian.
Yeah.
But he didn't go on. He didn't do like the Italian American cartoon version. He just did like Brooklyn.
Well, they were very Brooklyn in that movie. They were going for the Brooklyn thing.
They were hard. Maybe it was offensive to people from Brooklyn. I don't know. It was very heavy.
Yeah.
All right. That is going to do it for this week's podcast. Tune in tomorrow on Thursday if you want to see us doing our grab bag stream and try and break in to see what happens with this Nintendo Direct reveal for the trailer. We talked about for game-wise, we got Overwatch 2, Grounded, the finals, and Moonbreaker. Again, if you have been watching or watching along with the Watchcast, up next is Prince of Darkness in the Carpenter Apocalypse trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget about The Thing, a fantastic movie. If you want to go check that out, you can catch the Watchcast over on wherever you're listening to this feed, whether it's over on the Patreon or just in your RSS user app of choice.
It's out there. You can find it.
Aggregator of choice. We do have a Patreon, and that's where some of these feeds can be found. There is a Patreon feed. You get fun things like Never Been a Better Podcast, which should be coming out at the end of this week with Dan Reichert, Abby Russell, Austin Walker, Jeff Bacalar joining in on that one. I am currently editing through that mess of people talking over each other.
It was a mess.
That'll be up on Friday. We got the Planorama coming out this week. All of these things can be found at Nextlander.com or on patreon.com/Nextlander. A bunch of tiers there, bunch of goodies in those tiers. Find a tier that is right for you. We cannot do this without you. True. There is a tier there called the Mysterious Benefactor tier. And one of the goodies they have is they get their names read on this here podcast. And I am going to read those right now. Here are your mysterious benefactors for this week, starting with Farm RPG, John Richardson, Vornak, Vinny's Giant Booga Boogas, Kelly F., James Smith, Ryan Lucier, Skywarp, John Hubbard, Sean Miller, Brad's Midsize Hoodoo Voodoo, Evan Cook, Mark Wilhelm, JM, Jerry Lee, Gary Pejke, Robert Fisher, John McInnes, #Bunny Mimes, Peter Reardon, Thomas Lynn, Jad Rita, Statics, Andrew Jackson, Gabriel Knight, and the Mystery of the Razgree, Brian Murphy, Trevor and Adrian R., Kevin Villado, Randy Duax, Mark Allenbach, Andrew Tiebkin, Alex Wu, It Me JP, Matt Clements Jr., Edward Cheek, Andrew Slosky, Steve Lynn, Matthew Herrig, David Campos, and Tyler Treese. Those are the mysterious benefactors for this week. Thank you very much to those mysterious benefactors, and thank you very much to all of our amazing patrons, all of the amazing people that join us on Twitch every week, all of the amazing people that listen to this podcast and the 17 other podcasts that go out on a weekly basis from Nextlander Studios. And of course, thanks to the mods and the people that support our community on all those different platforms. We appreciate it. We will join you in a post Chris Pratt doing Mario voice world in the near future.
It is the demarcation line for the generation we grew up in and the next generation that will inherit the earth.
I'm gonna wake up on Friday to a very different world.
Join us for that again tomorrow, and then Friday for some more Gabriel Knight, for some more Voodoo. We'll find out finally what Cabrice Encore really means, possibly on Friday. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Alex. See everybody very soon. Bye.
Bye.